kill the brain, and you kill the ghoul.
Welcome, boils and ghouls, to the Cold Dead Heart Horror Show, where we go over horror news, recap and review what we've watched, read, or listened to, and also sometimes go into special things and deep dives. We thank you for joining us, and let's get started. What horror news do you have for us, Jasper?
Oh, I have so much, and I hope you have a lot of time. I know people have been freaking out lately because there's been a lot of ups and downs about the Friday the 13th TV series. At first, we thought it was axed, but it turns out it's not. There's just a change in writers. We learned this week that the Hannibal creator, Brian Fuller, is no longer the showrunner of A24. Peacock's Friday the 13th TV series because they've decided to go a different way with the material. It means that 84 are still planning on bringing us the Friday the 13th TV show, but the vision has changed. Kevin Williamson had been on board to write an episode of the Crystal Lake series, and Williamson took to Twitter today to tease some of the original plans. He wrote, "Bumming so hard, sorry I won't be part of what would have been an epic Brian Fuller show. Your pilot was so beautifully realised, a gorgeous portrait of a mother unravelling in her grief, not to mention bloody horrific." He also added, "I was so looking forward to our 1 hour long chase episode." Oh my god. Guys, a 1 hour chase episode, what's your thoughts on that? That's quite a lot. That's a long chase.
It's a long chase episode. Oh my goodness. I don't know.
I feel like there's only so much furniture you can throw at a serial killer, you know?
Yeah. It's like that song, like, this is the song that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friends.
Slam chop.
On other news, I don't know if there's any Godzilla fans out here. I am definitely a huge fan of Godzilla, and on May 14th, you can now rent Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, at home. So I'm very excited. I think I'm going to watch that this week at some point. Because
heck yeah, me too.
Anytime Godzilla releases, like, you know, like when he bends back and he releases that beam and it's just that build-up noise. Oh, goosebumps every time. So I'm very, very excited to watch this. We have so many releases this week for trailers. There's a movie called Silence of the Prey, which is actually inspired by a true story. It follows an undocumented immigrant mother who takes a caretaker job for an elderly man, only to discover a horrifying truth. The trailer's on YouTube. I don't want to say too much, but let's just say that our friend here might be on the table for dinner. It looks really interesting. So I'm very excited for this one. We also have the release of I Saw the TV Glow, which is A24's new movie that's coming out tomorrow, which for you guys listening is Friday, May the 17th. And I Saw the TV Glow, Owen is just trying to make it through life in the suburbs when his classmate introduces him to a mysterious TV show. A vision of a supernatural world beneath their own. In the pale glow of the television, Owen's view of reality begins to crack. I know we've posted about this a lot on the Cold Dead Heart server, and I can tell you that from the reaction on the server alone, you know, like, people are really hyped for this. So I'm excited to wake up tomorrow and read some reviews about it.
Yeah, because that's right around the corner, isn't it? I mean, what? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow for me, yeah.
Yeah, I got basically 2 more days for us.
2 more days for you. Ah, my head is. That's it. Now, I've noticed that a lot lately. There's been a huge surge in horror movies from Tubi, which I will discuss at the round table. There's been a new trailer release for Killer
You've
Body
been
Count.
torturing yourself with Tubi movies this week.
I have absolutely been torturing myself. My God. Yeah, they're releasing a new movie tomorrow, on the 17th, called Killer Body Count. And the to-be slasher, mistaken for a sex addict by her devout father, Cammy is sent to an isolated rehab centre. But when a killer begins to hunt the teens, Cammy realises that her survival and her independence are intertwined in ways she could never imagine.
Ooh,
I
okay.
mean,
That doesn't sound bad.
yeah, but the synopsis for most of the horror movies don't sound bad. But I mean, you know what? Like, I'll give
It's
them the
true.
benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
They're releasing a lot of movies, and maybe over time they'll get a bit better. But I'll go into this at the round table. And again, Shudder are hitting it. Like, they are just like,
Oh my God, yes.
movie after movie. So there's a new movie coming out. The 1994 Danish thriller Night Watch gets
Yes.
a brand new sequel, and Night Watch Demons Are Forever. So I take it you've been reading up about this.
I have been. I've been super pumped for it. I actually rewatched the 1997 American version of Night Watch by the same director, just the American version, like last week, and I am so pumped for this one. I'm gonna watch the 94 Danish version and then go straight into the new one. So it'll be good. Be a nice Friday.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. For anybody that doesn't know, in the upcoming sequel, 22-year-old medical student Emma has just taken a job as a night watch in the same forensic department where her parents were once almost killed by the famed psychopathic police inspector Wormer. Or is it Vormer? Wormer? The events led to her mother.
Vermer?
I'm not sure it's here. Please correct me in the comments. The events led to her mother's suicide, and her father, Martin, has turned to tranquilizers to suppress the memories. So yeah, I watched the trailer for this. I'm super hyped. So yeah, maybe we should do like a little watch together with those two.
Oh, we should. We should do that. That'd be great.
I'm always down for a watch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And lastly, but not least, for when it comes to movie and TV, Terminator Zero. First images from Netflix anime series promise a slasher horror vibe. Now, Terminator isn't really a scary movie, is it? It's sci-fi action. So the fact that
I wouldn't really put it in horror, but I mean, it's adjacent.
Yeah, I mean, like, if people are horrified by a naked Schwarzenegger, then, fair enough. But, yeah, they're making an anime series about Terminator. They explain that there's a completely valid version of the Terminator franchise where the Terminator synonymous, I can say that word, with Jason and Freddy, where he is this unrelenting serial killer. There's a little bit of Friday the 13th in there, and a little bit of Michael Myers. So as soon as they said that, I was like, I'm in. Like, unrelenting Terminator just killing people. That's, just no humanity at all. This is in canon, so there isn't any Connor family in this storyline. It's going to just be following whoever the next final girl is. Don't know yet, but
isn't this one the Terminator Zero? That's the reboot of their original Terminator anime series back from 2021, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is it will be unleashed on Netflix August 29th, so not too far away, but enough time to kind of keep us hyped, I guess. And that's it for, well, I say that's it, that was a lot, but that's it for movie and shows. What about you, C?
Well, all right. So I've been jam-packed like I normally am recently, so my options are very limited today. So the first one, or the only one I'll really be going over is the article published like 12 hours ago, so bear with me as I haven't read through it too much. So I'm just going to read what the article says the best that I can. So,
what's the article called?
So the movie's it's called Wolfland. Pierce Brosnan starring in a werewolf movie. So it's described as an epic odyssey. The upcoming werewolf thriller Wolfland is being directed by Sean Brosnan, who is his father is Pierce Brosnan, who's going to be starring in this movie. So according to the Variety, Wolfland promises to deliver the gripping creature and design effects courtesy of Imaginarium Studios, who's the powerhouse behind a lot of iconic films like Planet of the Apes, Lord of the Rings,
Nice.
which was founded by Andy Serkis. So the story unfolds around a young teenager who embarks on a perilous quest when his sister falls victim to a vicious attack and begins to show signs of a chilling transformation. Determined to reverse the gruesome curse, he sets out to find the legendary werewolf hunter Devlin. But when he finally tracks down this guy, the encounter takes an unexpected turn and plunges them into a deadly whirlwind of carnage. Devlin is the main character and is played by Pierce Brosnan. So Sean Brosnan, the director, who's Pierce Brosnan's son, also is a co-writer of the screenplay alongside Matt D'Elia, and they both expressed their excitement about working, with Pierce to try and redefine the werewolf subgenre. So with the incredible talents of, like I said, Imaginarium Studios, they aim to create a werewolf transformation sequence that rivals some of the most iconic scenes from some past werewolf movies like American Werewolf in London. So brace yourself for this thrilling ride in expanding universe of Wolfland. So this movie, I can't find anything on when it's supposed to come out. There's one little blurb on IMDb that says 2025, but I can't find the exact date for it. But it's produced by Marcus Warren for Light Sound Frequency and Christian Moore for the Consortium. Wolfland promises to be hair-raising cinematic experience unlike anything you've seen before.
I mean, if they're going to compare their werewolf transformation to the, like, say, American Werewolf in London, it's got to be good. Because when you think about werewolf transformations, everybody's mind goes to that scene, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From American Werewolf. Like, that's the most, for me, iconic.
It's iconic.
Werewolf Yeah. So for them, compare it to that, it has to be good. Has to be. So, yeah, that sounds really good, actually.
Yes, and for me, it's the scene in Dog Soldiers. I watched when I was growing up. I ended up seeing Dog Soldiers before I saw American Werewolf in London. So I think both of them are fantastic, and if they're on par with any of those, especially with the modern effects that they have nowadays, I think we're definitely in for something really, really good.
Yeah.
But that's it for me. Gigi, what do you got?
All right, I actually have quite a bit, so bear with me. There's a lot of exciting stuff in the air. So there's two hard novels that were just released this month. My Darling Dreadful Thing by Johanna von Veen was released yesterday, and it sounds so intriguing. I can't wait to read it. It's a queer romance between Ruse and Agnes, and Ruse is a backroom charlatan seance person who actually does see dead people. And one of them is Ruth, which is a strange corpse-like and dead for centuries thing that is the best part of Rue's life until she meets Agnes. But then Ruse is caught this is from the synopsis. Ruse is caught red-handed, but she claims a spirit is the culprit. Dr. Montague, a psychiatrist, is tasked with finding out whether Ruse can be considered mentally fit to stand trial. Suspects she's created an elaborate fantasy to protect her from what really happened, but Ruse knows spirits are real because she's loved one of them. All right, so that sounds good.
It does. Like, you read that to me before, and I was like, I'm in. Like, where'd I buy this book? This sounds great.
Yeah. And then the other one was released May 7th, and it's The Z Word by Lindsay King Miller. And it's like the Zombieland, but make it queer. It's the story of Wendy,
Hey!
a bisexual woman living in San Lorenzo, Arizona, where she's trying to get over her ex-girlfriend Leah, but it's hard to do and she keeps hooking up with her friends. On top of that, the whole world has turned into zombies. So. Like, I can read it.
Oh, you know that's going to be adapted into a show or something. That just sounds so fun.
It already sounds like a show. It does.
Yeah, it does. Rather than a book, you're like, oh, that'd be a good show. No, it's on paper.
Yep. And then a couple things that you've turned me on to. The Last of Us Season 2, the first official images, spotlight the return of Joel and Ellie, which I'm really pumped about. I'm curious about where they're going to go with it and how closely they're going to stick to the game, because it'll break my heart. But that's okay.
That is the worry, though, isn't it? When they adapt such a popular game and then decide, nah, we're going to change everything. You know, like they did it with The Witcher.
Yes.
You know, I can't remember the actor's name. It's gone in my head. I do apologise, but he left the show because the writers were like, "We want to change it," and he's like, "No, stick to the, you know, there's so much content already out there about The Witcher. Stick to the story, and I'll keep playing the Geralt. No, we want to change it. That's why he buggered off. So yeah, that is always a worry. Hopefully, they're the same.
Hopefully, they stick a little bit better to it. I mean, it's like, they've done such an amazing job so far, and I'm somebody that watched the show like obsessively. I think I've seen it through twice already. The next one is Dune Prophecy, which is based on the Dune novels actually written by his son, Brian Herbert, and another guy named Kevin Anderson. And this actually takes place 10,000 years before the movies, which honestly I think is such a smart move, because if you've read the books, they get super weird.
Yeah, you're not lying there.
No. So, I mean, I kind of see like the best thing to do to bring in more people into the universe is to do a prequel. So I feel like this is such a smart move. And some of the stills from it look breathtaking.
Yeah, I saw that with the dress. Oh, it's so pretty. But then the costume design for the Dune movies was already amazing as it is.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
You know, so I'm not surprised it's going to look good in a TV show.
I'm really curious too if they're going to do like how. So I'm not familiar with this book of the Dune books because there's like 50. But and I stopped reading after like 7. I think I need to read them, but
they're so long.
They are long. They kind of go all over the place.
For that?
but it's but what I'm interested to see, especially with how like important AI is becoming like an everyday conversation, which I'm personally kind of excited about. I'm a perpetual optimist, but you know, in Dune, one of the things that they introduced, they don't have computers. That's why they have like the Spacing Guild and all of these people that study to like make themselves like a computer, because they took down their robot overlords.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like, oh, that would be interesting to see like how closely they are to when humankind revolts. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea what they're doing. That's just me being like hopeful, but
that sounds like a Ken feedy right there.
It does. Yeah. It does. I'm tapping it.
But I think with the prequel thing, like it offers that creative flexibility that, you know, it creates more latitude to not offend an entire population of people who are fans of the book series, you know, because a lot of times when they do those adaptations, you know, from game to movie or book, you know, everybody's always pissed off where, oh, the book was way better, the movie was terrible, it left out X, Y, and Z, or whatever. But if they're creating an environment that allows them to expand on something that hasn't, like the foundation of it's been created, you know, I think that's also a pretty smart move on their point.
It could be.
Yeah,
really
you're
good.
not wrong here.
I'm excited. The last little bit of news I have is something that I know I've been talking about quite a bit, so people might be sick of it. But Senua Saga Hellblade 2 comes out May 21st. I can't wait. I love the first game so much. And the still they have, if you go to senuasaga.com, it's Senua's face and then all of these hands reaching around her face.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it is so eerie and beautiful at the same time. And I think it's just so on point for the game and how it feels because they did that stuff with the audio and all those voices and things like that. And I was really impressed.
I've noticed on the Cold Dead Heart server, like when I check in and you see the names at the side and there's like Ken and a few others playing Hellblade. I'm like, what's going on here? What's going on here? It's seems to be like a surge in popularity with it again, so that's great.
Well, that's one of the things I've done. Is gone back through and I'm playing the first one over again to reacquaint myself because it's been a few years, and just go through it. And then for my final bit of stuff, it's not necessarily like upcoming project news, but I did want to say a little bit about Roger Corman and his huge amount of work and his contributions to the horror community can't be understated. He was prolific and a genius and, definitely someone that is going to be missed. And he passed away on May 9th. So,
I mean, Attack of the 50-Foot Cheerleader, come on. It's a fantastic movie. The guy was amazing.
He was. Yeah, and if I go through, you can't possibly name all those names. I think he made like 500 movies, so there's no way. But here's the thing, like of his 500 movies, there's so many that were like critical to my childhood. I know that might sound weird to some people, but like I watched a lot of horror movies as a kid. And there's like some, for instance, Carnosaur, Galaxy of Terror, Piranha, that are just these like quintessential horror movies. Like Chopping Mall, Humanoids from the Deep, like over and over and over again. He just has this incredible vision and he puts the movies together. So Roger Corman definitely left a big imprint in how movies are produced and what movies you can make. And he was hugely influential in many, many genres. And I just wanted to take a minute to appreciate him and his work. Thank you for that. And anyways, so you have gaming news, Jasper?
I didn't know how you were going to splice that in there. You're going to like restart.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Y'all know we all do a bit of Dead by Daylight news because I'm a huge fan. I loved it. But my God, has behaviour been feeding us? Like, it's like they're actually listening to the community and being like, here, have all the great content, okay? So we had so many releases from them. We started off with Dead by Daylight Dungeons and Dragons. They're it's out on PTB right now, the public test build, and I've watched a few of my favourite streamers play it. It is just memes. It is so fun. So, on June 3rd, Dead by Daylight Dungeons and Dragons will introduce iconic D&D villain Vecna. Yes.
Wait. Why do I know that name?
Stranger Things, Vecna.
Ah, that's it.
Yeah.
A Voldemort ripoff.
Well, no.
That's brilliant. I'm just going to call him Voldemort now. So, Voldemort, known in Dead by Daylight as the Lich, as a new killer. Meanwhile, a bard, Ashtray Yazar, I cannot pronounce the name, so I apologise, is a new survivor. The new chapter will also include a new map, Forgotten Ruins, taking players to a mysterious dungeon full of Easter eggs for long-time D&D fans. Staples such as getting loot, magical items, rolling dice will also be woven into the gameplay. Now, I saw a little snippet of this. So they got loot, they got an item, and basically when they're in chase, he was in chase, and if you jump into a locker, you'll be transported to the locker furthest away from you. As well as that, the killer, like Voldemort, aka Vecna, he can fly. Like he can fly, and he can block like pallets and everything. Like he can even fly through like the vault windows. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to survive this new killer. He's so scary. Not only that, okay, so I remember seeing maybe last year people had made a mod for Dead by Daylight, which was 2v8. 2v8, so 2 killers and 8 survivors. Dead by Daylight have just announced that they will be bringing that mode to the game. Oh my god, could you imagine 2 bobbers chasing you with a chainsaw? Ah, my heart would... I think I'd cry, but
Die
they're kind
instantly.
of changing up the game mode to make it balanced, so there's not going to be any perks. Instead, there's going to be class systems. So the class systems will be like first aid, like the toolbox jockey and whatnot. And instead of hooks, it'll be cages. So I think they've really forethought how to balance this mode and make it fun for everybody. They also gave us a teaser trailer for another killer for Castlevania. Oh my god.
Castlevania?
Yes! They've dropped a trailer for a Castlevania killer. Please watch it. It's okay, so it starts off like this eerie music. You've got the giant castle in the background with the blood moon, and then it calms down to this guy in a hood walking towards you, right? 2 red eyes. He brings out his arm and turns into a million bats. And then it says Castlevania. I can't wait. Like, I actually went on to Twitter after I watched the trailer, and I was looking through like all the comments to gauge like what the community's reaction was, and they're very hyped for this. Very, very hyped. So, not only that, like honestly, so much content from Behavior. They're actually doing another game which is kind of similar to, Until Dawn, where like you've got a gang, you have to make. I don't know if you have played it before. The Until Dawn game.
Yeah, I played it. I really liked it.
So it's that kind of mechanic, gameplay mechanic, but the casting of Frank Stone welcomes you to Cedar Hills. The shadow of Frank Stone looms over Cedar Hills, a town forever altered by his violent past. As a group of young friends are about to discover, Stone's blood-soaked legacy cuts deep, leaving scars across families, generations, and the very fabric of reality. So the trailer for this looks absolutely fantastic, and I kind of applause Behavior, because they have done other games in the past, but they've been very minute games that haven't reached a wide audience. But I feel like the casting of Frank Stone's really, I feel like that's going to be a hit, like up there with Until Dawn. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. There's a couple of other things outside of Dead by Daylight. I can move over from the Behavior section. There's a demo available for Dark Fantasy Hack and Slash RPG Void, which has just been released. If you're in the mood for a good old gory dark fantasy hack and slash, Tiny Build and developer Nikita Sozidar have just the thing for you, which is Void. And the demo's on Steam, so I think I'm going to try that out and give you a review for that next time as well. And there was also a Souls-like Bleak Faith Forsaken, which came out last year, but they've just announced that they will be releasing it for PS4 and Xbox. So you can expect to see that on their platforms sometime this year as well.
Xbox more my jam.
Yeah, I have, like, I say I have an Xbox, but it's really just a laptop rester. Like, my laptop sits on it at the moment. But yeah, I get that. It's nice to see that some companies are making an effort to kind of bring their games to that other platforms as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that bit covers it for games. Like, last week we had, or the week before we had no games. This week it's done.
Woohoo! I like that. But there's ebbs
they
and
need to
flows.
start learning how to. They need to start learning how to drop their news sporadically instead of dumping it all at once.
Yeah. It's like when I went onto one of the sites, what's it, Bloody Disgusting, and they had that article where it's like, here's 7 new things, read it quick. Oh my god, I didn't realise all this was happening so quickly. But I mean, to be honest, I feel like 2024 is a really good. Like I said, last year was a good year for horror, guys. But this year, we're being fed healthy this year.
We are. It's like, it's blowing me away. It seems like every month this year, there's been an incredible horror release. And I don't know, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm here for it. Like, seriously. So, all right, that brings us to like recaps and reviews. Jasper, do you want to take it away with what you've gotten into this past week?
Yeah, I've been tormenting the crap out of myself this week. I kind of noted on the Cold Dead Heart Discord server that there was a lot of new Tubi movies out, and everybody's like, let us know if they're good. I'm like, okay, I guess I volunteer to watch these. So Tubi's a free streaming service. Their movies are TV movies. I wasn't expecting much, and to be honest, I didn't really get much out of them. They released a movie called Deadbolt. Seeking a fresh start, a young woman finds her sanity on the brink due to an unexplained disappearances, chilling nocturnal echoes in her new home. It's kind of like a bad version of The Barbarian. The one, I think that came out last year, where the woman turns up and it turns out like the place has been double booked, and then they go into the basement and there's this creepy monster. It's kind of like that. It's like a TV version of that minus the monster, because I don't think they had a budget for that. They just used that kind of semi-cute guy instead. So I watched that, and then there was another one called This Never Happened, for a group of childhood friends with a dark secret. A weekend together turns deadly when one of them becomes possessed by a vengeful spirit intent on revenge. This one was a little better than the Deadbolt one. I would say for Deadbolt, the acting was better, but the story, I had it figured out in the first few minutes. Like I knew what was going to come, and but it felt like the acting was a little bit better, and This Never Happened. So, I mean, if you're looking for junk horror, go with TV for now. You got a little bit of guilty pleasure crap horror. I'd definitely go for that. I watched Coffee Table. I don't know if either of you guys have watched this yet.
Nope.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. Oh my god. This is a dark, apparently it's a black comedy horror. It's a French movie, so it's Jesus and Maria are a couple going through a difficult time in their relationship. Nevertheless, they have just become parents. To shape their new life, they decide to buy a new coffee table, a decision that will change their existence. Guys, the first I think it's like 15-20 minutes, like they do a lot of character building. You're understanding the strain between the couple and what they're going through with having like a newborn and just moving into a new house, and their new coffee table that they argued over buying for like the first 20 minutes of the movie. But then I don't want to spoil it, but something supremely disastrous happens, and it's all about how Jesus kind of like maneuvers through that and deals with that. And I'll tell you, the guy that played him, fantastic acting. Like his reactions just seem so natural to like what happened in that certain situation. It's got a rating of 7 on IMDb. Please, like, don't sleep on this. It's an absolutely fantastic movie. Like, it was close to hitting my top 10. Like, I just didn't know what to take out of my top 10, so it's at 11. I watched Humane. I don't know if you guys have seen this as well. This one was quite interesting. It's kind of like a what if moment. In the wake of an environmental collapse that is forcing humanity to shed 20% of its population, a family dinner erupts into chaos when a plans to enlist in the government's new euthanasia program, but it goes horribly. This was a fun little watch. I did enjoy it. I wouldn't sleep on this one either. I think if you're looking just for like a chill horror movie to watch, Humane's the way to go.
Okay.
I watched New Life as well. That was that was posted online, so I gave that a watch. A mysterious woman on the run and a resourceful fixer assigned to bring her in. The two unique stories link together as the stakes of the pursuit rise to apocalyptic proportions. This was a really good movie. I keep saying it, don't sleep on these, but we're being fed so well this year. Like, I feel like there's just so many unique horrors coming out. A lot of unique indie horrors coming out. So this is definitely another one to add to your watch list. Arcadian.
Yeah, that's another
Arcadian.
one. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh,
I was just going to say,
go
New
for it.
Life is one of those, when you said it, it like rang a bell of a list of like movies I should watch, because the movie poster is so like artfully done.
Yes.
It's
thank you.
Yeah, these
I should have called her that. It's pretty.
It's beautiful and grotesque at the same time, which I love. I'm a huge fan of like Francis Bacon artwork, and it's two women's faces in these kind of subdued but odd expressions being like merged together.
Yes.
With these like flesh tendrils. I don't know how to put it, but it's really pretty.
Like wisps of flesh.
Yeah, like little wisps of it, not like thick. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll go with flesh tendrils.
Yeah.
I feel like that one. Okay, Arcadian, another Nick Cage horror movie. Although his other movies have been a little bit wacky, this one it was a bit more of a serious tone, more serious acting from his side, which I feel like I've not seen a while from Nick Cage. I feel like he's just been getting more bizarre with each role he's been taking on. I don't know if he's heard, before I go into Arcadian, he's taken on a new movie where he plays like Jesus or something. Okay, Nick, you do you, boo. Like, if you want to play, you can try play Jesus. But Arcadian. So, a father and his twin teenage sons fight to survive in a remote farmhouse at the end of the world. This was a slow build-up movie, but it made it worthwhile because the kind of creatures that have... The way they described it in the movie, the creatures came to kind of like wipe out humans because they saw them as a virus, which I guess is kind of like typical for any movie like that. But the way they did the creatures, they had this one moment, actually a few moments, when they're trying to, these big monsters are trying to chase them. Instead of like running side by side in a pact, they roll up into a ball and like cartwheel behind them. So there was this huge moment at the end where there's just this giant bally fucking limbs on fire, mind you, cartwheeling towards our protagonists. And I thought, okay, this has made the slow build up really, really worth it. So yeah, I'd say definitely give Arcadian a shot. It's a good little apocalyptic movie.
I'm down.
There was actually another interesting one that I watched. I saw this posted. It's a 44-minute long Japanese horror movie called Chime. A school teacher, is woken by a sound that fills him with dread. It doesn't give off much. The way it starts off is like it's a school teacher. He's actually like a chef that's training students like in this classroom environment. And there's this one student that's just so weird. And every day he comes into class, he just gets a little bit weirder towards the teacher. until eventually he's like, "Do you hear that noise?" And the teacher's like, I'm sorry, I don't hear anything." He's like, "That chime. I can't get rid of that chime." And it's like the moment he says that, the story just spirals into this surreal, crazy mess. And what really surprised me was how well the gore was in it for it being like quite a short movie and not a huge. I wouldn't say it was a huge budget either. It was really good. I would definitely give this one a little watch. It gets a little bit confusing. I think there's a lot of hidden notes within the movie, and it's one of those ones where it's like you can definitely decide what happened when you get to the end. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. Last but not least, which I know Gigi is going to be really happy about, I watched Abigail. Yes, Abigail. I kind of posted on the Coded Heart server about how I felt about that. I enjoyed it. It was a good movie. I only have one gripe, and I don't know if Gigi will feel the same about me. About it is, I felt like there was too many one-liners.
Oh, I've heard that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like if they toned down just the one-liners a little bit, I would have enjoyed it more.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it was great. The girl who plays the vampire, she done a fantastic job. And the budget for blood, oh my god, that must have been insane because it was a splatter fest.
It really was. And I took my mom to go see it for Mother's Day. And we had so much fun watching it. And what was kind of fun is every time they would throw a one-liner, she would also throw one back at the movie screen.
No way.
Oh yeah. And we had a nice time watching it, and I took along my future daughter-in-law as well, so that was a nice little treat. It was like a family outing. But I liked it. I loved the choreography, especially. I thought they did that really well, especially when like the human puppets came in.
Oh yeah.
And I also just kind of like the overall series of deaths that they did. I did think that like a couple of them died really quickly, but I'm okay with it.
Well, Angus Cloud, he was the kind of stoner driver guy that played in Abigail. I was so shocked to see him because he actually died. He died 31st of July 2023. I thought, oh my god, they must, like, how far back did they film this movie? I was shocked, but it was nice to see. It must have been one of his last roles that he played in. And, you know, it's nice that at least it was a horror movie, you know, and he'll be remembered by that. And as well as his role on Euphoria, which I know people love him in. So yeah, I was that took me back for a moment when I watched it.
Well, thank you.
It's on my to-watch list, but I haven't seen it yet.
It's good. It's a fun watch for sure.
Yeah, the trailer looked really good, but just haven't got to it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe next year.
Well,
maybe next year.
See you next year. Oh my god. So for me this past week, I just deep dived into Roger Corman stuff. Like I'd mentioned before, I watched the Last Drive-In special. So the Last Drive-In special was filmed last year at the Jamboree, which is like an event. So they actually interviewed Roger Corman there, and featured Bucket of Blood and Deathstalker, but I watched it this past week. And it was so much fun. One of the things that hit me when I was watching Buckets of Blood was just how much the beatniks are like hipsters of today. Because they were like, you got to get on this wheat germ that's going to just like help you. You need the extra vitamin E. And I'm just like, oh my god, they're hipsters. Why didn't I ever put this together? I'm a huge Jack Kerouac fan. I read On the Road when I was like in high school and became super obsessed with all of his work. And I was like, why didn't I ever realize that like they were hipsters? So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. Deathstalker is great. And it was cool seeing him talk to Joe Bob and just kind of see his impact in the world of movies. And I also just like watching them. And then this week as well, I replayed Senua's Saga, the first one, Hellblade 1.
Nice.
To get ready for the upcoming release. And I watched, they have a little backstory thing because the mental health stuff focused so heavily in the movie. And one of the things that they wanted to do, or in the game, I'm sorry, one of the things they really wanted to do was portray it, one, accurately, and two, not like, I don't know how to put it. I want to say like go over the top, but if you play the game, you're like, what are you talking about? Go over the top. She's like doing all this crazy stuff. But they wanted to like keep it grounded, and I think maybe that's why it felt so authentic playing through it, because some of the stuff that they interviewed patients that have like schizophrenic disorder would talk about is like the distortions in the walls around them and how sometimes it can feel like they're like moving away from them and coming closer at the same time, which they incorporated into the game. Others talk about like visual distortions, like like visual hallucinations where the world can feel more illuminated and more vibrant than it really is, or make connections that aren't really there. And all of that stuff is actually in the game. And all I ever focused on was like the stuff moving up her arm and the voices. But I was like, oh, holy crap, there's a lot more to this than when I played it the first time.
It's kind of like that when you... So it's kind of like that when you watch a horror movie and then you go back and watch it like a few months later and you're like, wait a minute, I missed this part? Like,
yeah.
You don't quite register everything that's happening until you watch it a second time or play it a second time. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that was kind of interesting to me is I've known two people in my life that had like actual diagnosed schizophrenia, and it was always so interesting talking with them and just like hearing about their experience, because one was an art student that was really, really talented, and he had a rough time in crowds because he said at home it was easier to distinguish, it wasn't his mother or father's voice, so he knew to dismiss it as like an auditory hallucination. But when you're in a group, it's so much harder because there's so many more voices potentially around you, so it's harder to dismiss it, and you're like, am I being rude? Is someone actually talking to me? And so it's like the school setting was much more difficult for him to navigate. And that's one of the reasons that he didn't talk to a lot of people and just kind of kept to himself, because he also was very self-conscious and didn't want to like let people know what he was going through. So I don't know. I kind of was thinking a lot about his experiences that he told me about when I was watching that like background and then replaying it, and I was just like, man, this would be really hard to live with every day.
Oh, absolutely. There's a guy on TikTok, I can't remember his name, but he talks a lot about his schizophrenia, and he doesn't have audio so much as in like he sees stuff. And what he does is like, if he feels like the person he's talking to is not real, he'll look on his phone camera just to check that they're actually real.
Because he's like interpreting it through the phone camera, and it's letting him know what's actually there. Yeah,
what's there and what isn't. So yeah, he shows a lot of footage about him capturing those moments, and it's so interesting. But I get you, like, that must be really hard and scary as well.
Well, I'm sure lonely too, right? Because like nobody wants to be like isolated like that, right?
Uh-huh.
So,
Oh.
because like
They actually have this. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, so they actually have this. It's like an empathy builder program in a lot of med school and nursing programs and PA programs, at least in the United States. So what they do is they bring all the students into a room, and you watch this video from I want to say she's an MD, so medical doctor, but she's been diagnosed with schizophrenia since she was, really young, and all of her work is trying to like bridge the gap between a normal person who doesn't experience that versus a potential patient who does. So what they do is they bring you into a room, you listen to this video presentation, and then you put these headphones on, and it's like a 9 or 10 minute long audio track that you listen to, and it slowly goes through different stages of the auditory part of hallucinations that a true schizophrenic would go through. And you have to do tasks like Sudoku puzzles or crosswords or whatever it is, but you have to do these tasks while you're listening to these voices, and the intent is to bridge that gap between somebody who oh, this is stupid, I don't believe you, you're just making stuff up, to really try and get people to empathize. But completely irrelevant to horror related, but it was on the
No, but that's really
topic.
interesting. Yeah. I mean,
it's called Hearing Voices, but I don't remember the doc's name that did it, and I can't find it because if you just type in Hearing Voices, all it does is
ask if you're okay.
yeah, it give you all the signs and symptoms. So, but anyway, yeah,
that's awesome.
Just wanted to add that.
Well, and if you'd like to hear some more voices and chatterers, join us on the Discord.
Yes, a little bit plugged there. Oh, but wait, we have. Well, C has a lot of news about weather. I'm ready. I've got my coffee. Let's hear it.
Oh, so I'm going to try and keep it as brief as possible. So there's 4 things this week or 2 things that I watched and rewatched, I guess. So last Friday we watched, I cannot remember the name of it. Gigi, help me out. It's a French zombie movie.
Oh, Infested.
Was that what it was? Infested.
With the spiders?
I could not.
Frontiers?
No, it's like In. It reminded me of Stall.
Oh, the zombie movie. The elevator one. Oh my god.
Yep.
Okay, hold on. I'm pulling it up. It's on Tubi for those that are listening. But I thought it was Italian.
Italian, that's right. It wasn't French. It was a long day.
Yeah. Oh my god, where is it? Okay, I'm on Tubi right now. But yeah, he's in an elevator. And it's an Italian movie, and it was a lot of fun to watch. It was one of those nights where it's like, I don't know what we're gonna play in the Wither server, and
is it The End?
Yes, that's it. Oh my god.
There you go.
Yeah.
The End.
Okay.
Question mark.
The End? Question mark. I was really surprised by how good it was for like being the most random pick ever. But no, he's such a douchebag in the beginning.
It's so bad, yeah. So when we watched that, I was able to. I think I got like the first 10 minutes of it before I had that long drive home. So I had it playing through my Bluetooth on my speakers, and the subtitles were small, so I couldn't read them. But I could watch the film pretty clearly, and contextual, like just in context from what was happening, you could tell kind of what was going on. So, and then I was able to finish like the last 30 minutes of it or so when I got home, and I thought the movie was fantastic. But I didn't. Yeah. What was the name of it again?
The End? Question mark.
The End? Question mark.
I don't think I've seen this. I'm gonna have to watch it this week.
It kind of reminded me of Stalled, right? That zombie movie where he's stuck in the bathroom stall for the duration of it, but I thought they did a really good job, and there was a lot more violence than I had anticipated.
Well, that's honestly, I was kind of, when I looked at it, because it was just such a like, all right, let's pick something to watch moment. and the synopsis sounded fine, and it was a zombie movie I hadn't seen before. And I honestly thought, all right, so we're going to watch a guy having a meltdown. That's going to be the primary driver of the story. No. The primary driver in the story is violence. And
Yeah.
I'm so here for it.
Okay, you guys have sold me. This sounds really good.
So
I'm ready
for
for
anybody
it.
listening, 8:30 Eastern on the Wither Discord, we do zombie movie. That follows an entire day worth of horror movies on the Cold Dead Heart server. So Fridays are jam packed.
Yeah, they are.
Moving on to the next one. I rewatched Zombieland 2, kind of in the background when I was receiving all the Blackened novels that were going to be taken to the Living Dead weekend in June. And I completely forgot about the entire Graceland scene where he's going to try and fit into like Elvis's shoes. He puts on the Elvis outfit, starts imitating Elvis. But the part that like really stuck out to me in that was the giant monster truck that they had called Big Fat Death, which I thought was a phenomenal name. But it made me think a little bit about how legitimately versatile a vehicle like that would be. I'm not sure what the gas consumption would be, and they claim in the movie that it's a significant rollover risk. But still a fantastic movie. Glad I rewatched it. I have been pushing like 12-hour days trying to get all these projects ready, and today is a big day because we got up at 6 o'clock this morning, started working at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and we finally finished all of the edits and footnotes for the new upcoming book that's going to be in the Wither series. It's called The Rot War. And the synopsis for it we just finished today as well. That's going to go on the back of the book. Reads, following a unique and impromptu mission under unusual circumstances, a Special Forces Operational Detachment Alpha, also known as an ODA, soon finds itself ensnared in a nightmare of unfathomable proportions. As an infection tears through cities and decimates populations, the ODA finds itself fractured. The surviving members face a chilling ultimatum: cling to the diminishing remnants of military order in hopes of saving their nation, or embrace the grim and dangerous reality of heroic defiance. Those who choose to remain within the ranks of the army soon discover a dark truth, causing their loyalty to the military and their hope for the nation to fade. Meanwhile, those who choose the rogue path are thrust into a battle for survival, contending not only with the relentless undead hordes, but also a fanatical religious sect manipulated by the figures who should be safeguarding humanity's salvation. As alliances shift and loyalties are tested, the survivors must confront the terrifying truth. The real threat may not be the infected, but the twisted ambitions of those in power. In this brutal trial of fear and desperation, alliances crumble and loyalties fracture, as the survivors grapple with the realization that the true horror may lie not in the horrors that cover the landscape, but in the darkness that lurks within the human soul. Welcome to the Rot War. So, we're really excited for this book.
Mm-hmm. I am too.
I'm so excited. Like, just throw my wallet at you right now, please. I'm ready.
So the idea for this one was to, most zombie books or movies, they follow, either this, derelict family or, military or police or whatever it is. What we wanted to do is being in the service, there's always these conversations when you're super bored about like what you would do. Would you stay and fight with the army, or would you go rogue and, fortify your house and, steal from your neighbors and all that stuff. So what we wanted to do is create a book that showed both aspects of that. So some of the people on the team stay with the military and you kind of get work through, their trials and tribulations, if you will. And then those who leave and, go defend their families, kind of like the hardships that they have to endure as well. So we were hopeful that it's a unique take on it that, hasn't been done before. We used a lot of, very colloquial dialogue, stuff that's normal for people in the service, but not so normal for people not in the service. So we have a lot of footnotes in there to help bridge the knowledge gap, but without taking away from how things are said and how things are done. we got the cover for it up on both Discords, and the synopsis that I just posted is up there. And those will be ordered on Friday and ready for the event in June. Oh, okay. Last one. So, as you all know, we've been working very diligently for a very long time on a Wither tabletop RPG. So, we just finished pretty much everything. I'm waiting on a couple maps, but by and large, the rulebook is done. Thank you pages are done. Everything's done. And we created a Welcome to the Wither Universe page for those who, aren't into reading, but are into tabletop games, so they can kind of get thrust into the world that we created. And I'd like to read that really fast. So, the title is Welcome to a Wither Universe. As an unknown contagion from long ago awakens, wink, wink, hint to the comic book that's coming out as well. Humanity finds itself plunged into a life and death struggle for survival. Wither, a zombie game, which is a play on the original book Wither, a zombie novel, thrusts you into a world where the dead rise and civilization teeters on the brink of collapse. In late 2020, as the world fought to grapple with one pandemic, another came to life, forcing panic and confusion to sweep across the North American continent before spreading across the globe as society grappled with the sudden emergence of the undead. No one was prepared for the horrors that awaited them as the world descended into chaos. As survivors attempt to band together or go solo to navigate the dangerously evolving landscape, factions emerge, each vying for dominance in a world torn apart. From altruistic enclaves striving for cooperation to ruthless groups driven by self-interest, the post-apocalyptic world is filled with dangers both from the living and the dead. Technology in the 21st century way of life was once a beacon of progress, but now crumbles in the face of relentless decay. Survivors rely on their wits, adaptability, and the skills honed by life experiences to endure in a world stripped of its former glory. Within the Wither universe, realism reigns supreme. There are no supernatural elements or fantastical occurrences, only the gritty struggle for survival against insurmountable odds. Heroes and villains emerge not as mythical figures, but as ordinary individuals thrust into extraordinary circumstances, navigating moral dilemmas and ethical challenges as they fight to live another day. Welcome to the world where every decision matters, every action carries consequences, and every heartbeat is a testament to the tenacious fighting will of humanity. Welcome to the Wither, a zombie game, a world where hope flickers in the darkness and survival seems to be the only prize. So, that's
I have
a mouthful.
goosebumps.
Wow.
But that project is a culmination. We promised it on our Kickstarter once we hit a certain goal. We had no idea where to start. And thanks to a couple crafty members of our Discord, we have been able to manufacture what I believe is a pretty fantastic, easy to learn tabletop role-playing game that I think is going to be pretty damn good if I'm going to be honest with myself. But those copies will be printed on Monday, also debuting at the Living Dead weekend this June, but will then be available on our website as well, in PDF form or in like the super cool booklet copies, with all like the laminated maps and everything that are going to come with the very first edition. So yeah, that's it from me. I talked for a minute there. So
talking about like the horror world feeding us. Whether I am fed, you have fed me. That's so much going on, and it's so exciting. I mean, you're going to make me broke here, man. That sounds great.
Well, hopefully our prices are below competitive. We're not, the goal isn't, obviously it's a business and there is like that aspect to it, but everything that I've seen, most of what we're doing is below asking price for equivalent products, I guess. So it's, yeah, we got a lot. Blackened just came out too. Completely forgot about that.
Heck yeah.
Golly. Which was written by a former veteran in the United States Army. It's his first novel too. It is available on pre-sale on the ebook version and will publish on May 31st. We're really excited about that, and we got a couple more projects in store coming up real soon. Okay, my throat hurts.
All right.
If I can do a little plug here, hold on, I'm trying to find you guys.
Okay.
Profile, retweet. Okay, I just want to do a plug here, so everything we've talked about. If anybody who's listening wants to follow anybody or content, you can find us on Twitter, twitter.com/colddeadhearts. And if you want content from Wither Universe, you can look at them on Twitter at Wither Novels. And to find our server, we actually have it linked at Cold Dead Hearts server, which you can find on our Twitter. And breathe. There you go.
Well, and thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in. We appreciate you from the bottom of our cold, dead hearts. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.